Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to League Racing TV here for round number 2 of the CTC Nations E-League Championship. My name is, of course, Michael. I was going to be taking you through the action here as we get set to go racing around the Chinese Grand Prix. Yes, we head to Shanghai for what should be a very exciting race indeed. And of course, looking at the Chinese circuit in question. Of course, Shanghai, the 5.4 kilometer, 3.3 mile circuit in length, 16 corners, 2 DRS zones, one down that very long back straight down in towards the hairpin at turn 14, and one down the start finish straight. Going to provide a lot of overtaking opportunities down into that hairpin, that is for sure. And of course, through turns 1 and 2, we should be expected to see some very good side-by-side action. Of course, the middle sector is going to be one where the driver is going to really find time or lose time. Very easy to lose a couple of attempts by just running a little bit wide through one of these corners, through turns 7 and 8 and 9, 10 especially. And of course, setting yourself up coming through the snail corner of course, turns number 11 and 12 and 13, where you really need to get that hooked up to get yourself launched onto the back straight, and of course to run down in towards turn 14. Well, guys, of course, last time out in Australia, it was a very interesting race, to say the least. Interesting for the drivers out there as well, with some of the issues we was having out on track, and interesting for us as spectators as well. But looking at the standings and how the race unfolded, of course, it was the Czech driver of Jan who did take the race win ahead of the American of Cloud in second place. The German team of VNT Tom coming through in third place, and of course we had Carlos Galindo in fourth, Trisk in fifth, Luca in sixth, João Pina in seventh, Kevin Didiz in eighth, Namsko in ninth, and of course Nick Arrow completing the top 10. Of course, looking ahead to how that of course shapes up the standings in terms of the overall standings, it is Germany that lead the way by a singular point ahead of the American outfit in second place, with the Czechnians in P3. Brazil are currently in P4 on 18 points. And of course, 15 points for Spain in fifth place. The Netherlands, the Dutch team, in sixth place, with the French outfit in seventh. Poland there in eighth on 4 points. And then of course we have Finland and Australia, who, I mean, Australia unfortunately could not get themselves a lineup, if I remember correctly, last week, which is unfortunate for them. And Finland, both of their drivers seeing the DNFs early on. But yeah, it was a very interesting race last time out, and this race is going to be a little bit, it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be intriguing. Of course, we don't have a full lineup here tonight, no full grid, unfortunately, as the Australians, Chechens, and the French outfit unable to get a lineup sorted for tonight. So we do only have the 14 drivers, the 7 nations represented here tonight, and we're going to go through them. So for the Netherlands team, we have Samir Bafidia. You're going to have to let me know if I absolutely butcher the names. I will try my best, but if I butcher them, then obviously let me know in the chat. And of course, Wessel, they're representing the Dutch outfit. For Germany, we have Dennis Lagerrock and of course Nico Rasenberg there for the Germans, looking to extend their championship charge as well at the front. Of course, with no Czechs here tonight, it's going to be interesting to see how both Germany and the USA approach this. And speaking of the USA, their lineup for tonight is Cloud and Vuk. For the Polish team, we have Marcel Biega and Filip Frakzak. Let me know if I've also butchered that name wrong. Hopefully not. For Team Brazil, we have Gabriela Pinto and, of course, David in the Brazilian outfit. For Finland, we have Kendon Lut and Alexis Kovro. They're for the Finnish drivers. And, of course, the Spanish outfit going to be represented by Victor Garcia and Ivan Santa Maria here tonight. And, of course, with there only being 14 drivers here tonight, big opportunity for all these teams to get some points, because as you see, it's the top 15 that get points. And there is a point for pole position and, of course, a point for the fastest lap. So with there only being, well, it's supposed to be 14 drivers here represented tonight, I can confirm that it is a few less. We are down to 11 drivers. So as long as you see the checker flag, you're gaining 5 points. And that could be big come the end of the season. Absolutely, it could. And of course, we are going to be seeing how these drivers move forward and how they, of course, are going to be measuring themselves up as we have a look at the conditions of which these drivers are going to be racing in tonight. And it's not looking too nice out there. As I mean, guys, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an insider right now. Is looking very overcast out there in qualifying, and we're just going to wait for one of the drivers to come out on the track so we can jump on board with them for a flying lap around the Shanghai International Circuit. And of course, we do have the first cars coming out of the garage right now, so we will jump on board with one of them in just a moment's time as we head out to the action out on track. And the first driver out on track is, of course, Monza, who is, of course, going to be representing the, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, who has Monza coming for? Apologies for having the pause menu up, guys. As soon as I tab out of the game, it does automatically put me on pause, which is a little bit annoying, but it is unfortunate. It's just one of those things. It really is, guys. I am definitely apologizing for that small inconvenience right there, as I believe Monza is, of course, Samir. So yeah, so we got the Danish driver out on track, and he's going to be the first man to set a lap time here. So we're going to go on board with him, and we're going to see what he can do on his first flying lap. Of course, we have everything open that we need to, the ERS, the lap delta, but the one thing that we can do is get rid of the table in behind, as we're going to give him the full screen now to go on this flying lap here. As we come up now to the final corner, very easy to invalidate here and of course ruin your lap before it starts, and a little bit of a back end slap there for Monza, but DRS wide open as we begin the lap now, heading down in towards turn number 1. Gonna be throwing the car in, coming down the gears gradually as we come towards turn number 2. Second gear trying to hook up, keeping it nice and rotated as we come through turns number 3 and number 4. Now in towards turn number 5, the small right hand kink as we head to the break-in for turn number 6. Breaking down second gear, looking for the best traction possible out of the corner as we come now into the heart of the middle sector as we go through turns number 7. Keeping it absolutely flat now through number 8, really hugging the inside to set yourself up for the double left-hander of 9. And of course turn number 10, fourth gear, the gear of choice there for Monza as we come down to the middle sector split. It's a 51.4, breaking down in towards turn number 11 as you try and set yourself up for the right-hander, turn number 12, and keeping the car as close to the inside as possible. Minimize the distance as you try to launch yourself onto the back straight through 13, and this is where we'll be seeing a lot of overtakes happen with DRS wide open, coming down this long 1 kilometer back straight as we head in towards turn number 14. Late on the brakes, locking up the front tyres as we go through turn number 14 and through 15. Now into the final corner, turn 16. How much in the inside does he take? He takes quite a bit in the inside curve, and now to the line will come Monza. It's going to be a 1:31.1 to get us underway here in qualifying. Monza topping the times right now, 2 tenths the gap between himself and Victor there in second place, as we got Gabriel there for Brazil in what was third place, but he's down to fourth now as Marcel Vega does improve on his time and he goes up into P2 as we got who have we got coming to the line? Kendon looked on a invalid run, unfortunately for him. Ivan Santa Maria coming through the final corner now, the Spaniard to the line, and will it be provisional pole? No, it's front row for Ivan there, the Spaniard getting himself up into the conversation for pole position, but for right now he can only settle for P2 as we got the American of Vuk, or is it V-U-K Garcia, but we're going to go with Vuk, or we're going to pronounce it so many different ways, guys. I do apologize. Whichever way I read it is the way I pronounce it. Unfortunately, that is the way it goes. But the American coming through the double left-hander of 9 and 10 now in towards turn number 11. He is a couple of times off of Monza's lap time, so this will put him around the Brazilian pairing of Davi and Gabriel there in 5th and 6th, and looks like he might try to see if he can snag himself a long range tow coming down the 1 kilometer back straight, and it's a very long range tow, but I don't believe he's going to get much benefit out of that, if any at all, as he comes through the hairpin at turn 14, looking for a good exit out of 15, and now through turn 16, throws the car in. Is it going to be up to the front for the American? No, he does split the Brazilian drivers, so there we go. Rook is up into P6, and he's going to be looking to improve on that as the session continues on. As we see the drivers now peeling themselves off back into the pit lane, as we got Cloud, the other American driver, to the line. He goes up into P5. Now, of course, all eyes today are on the battle between the Germans and the Americans, as I'm trying to find our German drivers here tonight, and I don't believe the German drivers have made it into the lobby. So this is huge if you are American, of course, supporting Team USA in this championship, because it looks like that their chief rivals early on are not in the mix right now, which is huge for America, but not so huge for the spectators here today for China. As I'm quickly just going to bring up the stream in the background, make sure everything is running okay in the background as well. Hopefully it is. Guys, let me know in the chat, who is your money on? That is the question. Who is your money on? Hopefully we will be able to get the remaining 3 drivers in for what should be the rest of qualifying. Hopefully in for the race, as long as they're able to join before the race starts, and they should be okay, as we have Victor, who is just leaving the pit lane, as I believe his teammate Ivan is the first man out of the pit lane to go for his second run here in qualifying. And this is a big opportunity for the Spanish team as well. Of course, a lot of people backed the Spanish team going into this season and saying that Team Spain, the Espanyol side, are going to be ones to keep an eye out on, ones that could take the victory. And races like this, where some teams are not here, where you can really take advantage of everything that is going on. This is a big opportunity for the Spanish. This is a huge opportunity for the Spanish. No German drivers in the lobby as of right now. No Czechnians in here either. No Australians as well. No French in here also, as Ivan going to get his second lap underway as we run down in towards turn number 1. We do have a car coming out of the pit lane. Hopefully that car gets well out of the way, and yes, he does. Good going there. I believe that is the American of Cloud there, getting out of the way of Ivan there through turns 1 and 2. Good going there from the American driver, as Ivan marginally up in the first sector. Going to be looking for more though, especially in this middle sector. This is where you can find your time through the middle sector, taking good amount of speed through turn 7 and 8, getting a good launch out of turns 9 and 10 is where you're going to find your time in this middle sector. As it looks like Ivan very smooth, very on it right now. Middle sector split, he's a 10th down, so not as quick as what he did previously, but there's still an opportunity for him to gain time. If he gets a better run through 11, 12 and 13, he's just going to continue to gain time all the way down to turn 14. Of course, at the hairpin, DRS wide open now for the Spaniard of Ivan Santamaria as he comes down through turn 14, hard on the brakes. And now to the line in the final corner he will come. Throws the car in 4th gear. Does not drift over the white line. To the line will come Ivan as he improved. It's a marginal improvement, and that goes to show just how much time he lost in that final sector on his first one, as Monza improves on his lap time. He pushed it down to a 31 flat. Gabriel Pinto there going up into P3. Marcel Biega up on his time, but big lock up into the hairpin. Not going to be good for the Polish driver as he comes through the final corner now. Throws the car in 5th gear, and very different to what we've seen so far, but he's keeping it in 5th. Marginal improvement for him, but not an improvement in terms of position. And Kendon Loot there for the Finnish team. Puts it into the 130s. It's a 130.9 from the Finnish driver as he is hoping that his teammate will join him up there. As we got Philip Frankzak through the first sector as well, but we're going to stay on board with Cloud. Cloud a 10th up in the middle sector, looking for a big run now onto the 1 kilometer back straight. No slipstream for the American driver. Obviously he has overtaken Ivan Santamaria, who he would have hoped he would have overtaken down the back straight so he could just snag a little bit of a slipstream off him. But through turns 14 he goes, very smooth on the throttle for Cloud. Through the final corner now, throws it in 5th gear, keeps it within the limits, running very low on ERS, and he goes up into P7, almost a 2/10 improvement. And now is all about the final lap times that we're going to be seeing from these guys. Kendon Lut for Finland, what a lap time from him. Puts himself up right in the mix for pole position and to snag a point here in qualifying, as Philippe is going to be heading into the pit lane. I believe Alexis Kovro is also going to be going into the pit lane as well, but he is, he is absolutely into the pits. He will go, and that is the second round of qualifying over and done with. It is still very overcast out there, still overcast in terms of what we are seeing in terms of just there could be rain. Let's not rule it out. There could be rain that happens, that falls here in qualifying. Like, it is definitely a possibility, and we should not be ruling it out. As I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. Like, there's still a very, very real threat of rain come the end of this session, so let's not rule it out right now. Guys, let me know in the chat, who are you backing for the race win here tonight? Of course, a lot of teams unable to be here tonight. Big opportunities to gain some big points for some other teams, and we're going to see who is going to be coming out on top of proceedings here tonight, as I believe Cloud last one into the pit lane, as we got our first driver coming out onto track, and that is of course the Brazilian of Davi gonna be the first man coming out of the pit lane, and we're gonna see what he can do. Even though there is only 11 drivers here right now, guys, I can promise you the action is still going to be equally as competitive. And judging from the lap times that we're seeing here in qualifying, we could be in for a very exciting race, despite not having as many drivers here tonight as we would have hoped for round number 2. But of course, sometimes life does get in the way, and unfortunately, it is like that sometimes, and we're going to see what Davi is going to be able to do now as he comes into turn 14, going to get himself set up for the final lap here in qualifying for the Brazilian. Everyone's on their out laps now, everyone's gearing up, one more throw of the dice, and here comes Davi, going to be the first man to set us underway with the final lap here in qualifying for round number 2. As he comes through turn number 3, now through turns 4 and 5 as we head in towards the hairpin at turn number 6. 2/10 up is the Brazilian. This is the kind of improvement that Davi definitely needs. The kind of improvements that Brazil needs. They need Davi up there alongside Gabriel up there in the top 6. And is he going to be able to do it? Can Davi maintain and improve on his lap time? Coming through turn number 10 now in towards the middle sector split. And he is going to be over 2/10 up now. Coming through 11 and 12 now through turn number 13, trying to launch himself onto the back straight. He's got 65% battery available to him, and he is going to use that battery to improve his top end speed. DRS wide open now, and let's hope that he does hold a little bit back. He does indeed hold a little bit back, ready for the run to the line as he comes through the hairpin at turn 14, now through 15. Little more ERS deployed as we come through the final corner. The checker flag has fallen. Davi to the line. Where's he going to put him? He goes up into P9 and he loses time in the final sector, which is unfortunate for him. His teammate though, Gabriel, improves up to P3. Good lap from him as we got Alexis to the line. Marginal improvement, but not in terms of position, as we have Philippe Fraxac coming through the final couple of corners now. What can he do? Through the final corner he'll come. Is it going to be an improvement for the Polish driver? No, no improvement there for him, as Vuk Garcia does jump himself up into P2, and Marcel Biga there improving on his lap time as well. What can Monza do? Monza now through the final corner. What's it going to be for the Dutch driver to the line? Is it going to be up there? Yes, front row for him. Kendon Lut improves on his lap time. And Finland looks certain for the front row as we got the Spaniard peering now to the line. And it's going to be Victor first. Ivan Santa Maria across the line. Marginal improvement here. What can Cloud do, the American? No improvement in terms of position for him. And that wraps up qualifying here in China. And my, oh my, what an exciting qualifying it was. Kendon looked for Finland, takes pole position. And the pole position point ahead of Monza there in second place, with Marcel Vega in third. Rook in fourth for Team USA, with Gabriel for Brazil in fifth. Then we've got the Spanish pairing of Victor Garcia and of course Ivan Santa Maria there in sixth and seventh. Cloud for America in eighth. Davi for Brazil in ninth. Alexis Corvor in 10th, and of course Philip Frakzak there in 11th, bringing up the back of the grid. And guys, with qualifying over and done with, we do have Max in the chat supporting the Dutch team. Of course, only the one driver here for the Netherlands tonight, which is unfortunate. A quick reminder of the point system here in the Nations E League, as it is of course 22 points for the race win, 18 points for second place, 15 for third, 12 for fourth, and then it goes down in increments of 1, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way down to 15th place, where you pick up one singular point. And of course that 1 point could mean all of the difference as you move on through the season itself. And of course, before we move forward, let us have a quick word with our sponsors. Of course, Pivot Media, of course, a marketing agency offering graphic and video designers to elevate your brand and business. Make sure you guys check out their X in the description below the stream. And of course, to Virtual Setup Engineer, of course, the brand new setup shop for all your setup needs, where they offer setups for all of the tracks, plus a custom chat box so you can customize the setup to your driving style as well. And of course, that is fantastic, and we greatly appreciate the sponsors and partnerships that we have here in CTC. And guys, I've just received an invite. Unfortunately, I cannot join. I am busy right now. I am busy. But guys, of course, we are here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Let's look at the track in question once again. 5.4 kilometers, 3.3 miles in length, 16 corners, 2 DRS zones, 1 down the 1 kilometer back straight and 1 down the start finish straight. Key overtaking opportunities is going to be through, of course, turn number 1 and 2, where you can get side by side and really set yourself up for turn number 3, down into the hairpin at turn number 6, and of course the hairpin at turn 14. You can have a look down the inside in towards turn number 11, but I generally find turn number 11 to be a bit of a risky overtake there. It can be done, and if you can get done cleanly, all good, but the elevation change and the sharpness of that left-hander at turn 11 really does mean that you really want to be completely alongside the car coming out on the run down in towards turn number 11. That is for sure. If not, you're better off making yourself certain that you're going to hook yourself up through 12 and 13 to launch yourself onto the back straight. Of course, the detection point between 12 and 13, and of course just before the final corner, we could be seeing a lot of DRS mind games happen over the course of the weekend, over the course of the race, and it's definitely going to be interesting, because the mind games are all part of what we love about F1. The mind games, the strategic strategies that these guys are going to come up with. And speaking of the strategies that they're going to come up with, I believe as we are about to head to the 5 red lights and we are underway. Sorry, I was about to say the strategic strategies of the guys as Kendall Lutt comes down in towards turn number 1 into the lead, but he's challenged by Monza on the inside as Monza is going to be able to take the race lead as Kendall Lutt really is going to try and hold it around the outside, turns to the inside for turn number 3 as he'll have the inside line right there. And it's a very good start if you are Dutch here tonight, as we're going to bring up everything that we need as Kendall Lutt there really squeezed out by Monza coming through turn number 6. In behind we have the Brazilian of Gabriel getting himself a good launch as well. Alexis Kovro up into P5, good start from him. Rook Garcia down into 6th place. I'm not sure what happened to him early on. Davi, the only driver on a set of the hard compound tyres. Everyone else gone for the medium tyres except for Davi. He's thinking different, and this is what I do like to see. I like to see a little bit of a switch in the strategy as Monza looks to be getting away from these guys up ahead, as he is going to try to pull out a lead for the Dutch team here tonight. As look, it's really going to close up. Oh, big avoidance there from Rook as he almost went careering into the back of the Finnish driver of Alexis here up in P5, but Rook all out of shape now coming through the final corner. That's going to open the door for Victor to get himself up into P7 as the Spanish pairing are now moving up the order as they look to try and maximize the points that they can get out of tonight's race. But my, oh my, how close was that for Rook to go into the back of the Finnish driver of Alexis. That is brilliant avoidance action there from Rook. But I believe he might have been just a little tad late on the brakes. Maybe missed his braking point by around about 10 meters there. But very, very close there. Daffy doing well, sticking in this train. So you got Philip and Cloud battling for P10 and 11 at the moment. Back up towards the front. Lap 2 of 28. We have Monza for the Dutch team out in the lead. We have Kendall Lutt for the Finnish team in 2nd place. And then of course we got Gabriel in P3 for the Brazilians. And then we have Marcel Vega in P4 for the Polish team. Alexis Kovra in P5 for the Finnish team. And then of course we got Ivan Santamaria and Victor Garcia there in 6th and 7th for the Spanish team. Then we got Rook Garcia in 8th for the American outfit. Davi in 9th for the Brazilians. And then of course we got Cloud for the Americans in 10th. And then we got Filip Fragzak there in 11th for the Polish drivers. Now, with DRS now activated, it's going to make this very, very interesting in terms of not only track position. It's going to make things interesting to see who is going to do well with the ERS as well. ERS management is going to be so crucial for all these guys here tonight, and we're going to be seeing who is going to be mastering the ERS battery the best, because down that back straight it's very easy to just waste your ERS battery by just trying to go for an overtake and using a little bit too much. Very easy, and it's difficult to gain it back around you as well. So we're going to see as like I say, getting a little bit too much on the inside curb. You saw how it unsettled him, as you see a little snap at the rear there from Marcel Biega, and that is going to be an open invitation for Alexis to really try and mount the pressure on the Polish driver now. As we got the Spanish pairing of Ivan and Victor in behind, looking for opportunities as well. And that is Kendall Lutt around. He's gone for a spin and he's falling towards the back of the field. What has gone on there for Kendall Lutt? The Finnish driver has had an absolute horrible time right there. And that has allowed Monza a near 1 second lead. But fortunately, Gabriel did have DRS, so he has brought him back within touching distance of the Dutch driver out in front, but he needs to have a big first sector now. But his DRS battery is completely non-existent here. Gabriel is absolutely on the ropes coming through Sector 1. No ERS to his name in comparison to Monza. And if Monza burns, Gabriel is going to be struggling to keep pace. Marcel Biega now promoted up into a podium position. Alexis Kovra up into P4 after seeing his teammate tumble down the order. We're still not sure what happened to Kendall Lutt, but he is going again. He is still going. He's in P8. He's just outside of the DRS train, but he can sneak himself back in it, and he has done so momentarily. As we know, the Finnish driver does have pace around here. He did put it on pole position, but was his setup more attuned to qualifying instead of the race, as the gaps are now beginning to form, as Marcel Biega unable to stick onto the back of the top two, and now Alexis Kovra also falling out of range on Marcel Biega, and he does have DRS, so he will close back in, but Marcel Biega now is going to be under pressure from these guys in behind us. The Spanish pairing getting close, but no switcheroo happening for the Spanish outfit just yet, as Kendon is trying absolutely everything he can to get himself back into this fight. Lap 5 of 28. Philip Fragzak there picking up the inaugural 3-second time penalty of the session. Not ideal for Philip there at the back. Meanwhile, his teammate up in the podium position. 1.92 seconds now off the back of the Brazilian of Gabriel in second place. It is going to be a very tall order for Marcel to get himself back into the contention for the race win. He's going to have to start thinking about the strategy, when to pit, because the undercut on this game, as we've all discovered in recent times, extremely powerful. And while I'm not sure if it's as powerful around here in China, it has been powerful in the past, so I would imagine it's still going to be powerful once again. As now we have obviously the top two going to be battling out down the back straight, but this is the battle, the closest battle that we have this DRS train, with of course Alexis Kovra on the back of Marcel Biega. But we're going to go up towards the front right now and just see. No, Gabriel is not going to go for it, but Alexis Kovra is going to go for it, and he's going to move up into the podium position. The Finns are back in the top three, with Alexis Kovra now up into the final podium position. Marcel Biega now able to just sit in behind and save his battery. That's what he needs to do, as Ivan Santamaria and Victor Garcia going to be trying to work together as a team and see if they can capitalize on anything that happens in front of them, and maybe try to get not only one of them through, but both of them through and up the order. Still on board with the Spanish outfit here, as there's Marcel Biega going a little bit deep. That has opened the door right now for Ivan Santamaria, as Santamaria now really getting underneath that rear wing of the Polish driver, but Marcel Biega able to just hold on the dirty air. Very tricky. Oh, as Marcel Biega onto the inside curb, and that is him taking a half spin, falling down the order, and he rejoins behind his teammate at the back of the field. Marcel Biega down into P11 from what was P4. Heartbreak for the Polish outfit here tonight, as the top two have managed to get themselves away. Alexis Kovra now up into P3, and he has that 1 second gap now to the Spaniards, but this is where the Spanish outfit are going to work together as a team to get themselves back in position to really oh, big rear lock up for Santa Maria, losing the back end into turn 14, and that is opening the door for lots of spins. The rear lock-in around this circuit is definitely causing a lot of troubles for these drivers, and as the tyres begin to lose their grip, begin to fade away, as I believe they are, so right now it's going to get incredibly difficult to hold on. But the Spanish outfit have managed to get themselves back within DRS range of Alexis Kovra, and that is big for the Spaniards. My oh my, what a race we are having right now. A race where we're seeing mistakes begin to occur. Too much riding the curbs for Marcel Biega, and he falls down the order. Kendon Lutt, after getting pole position, big mistake from him. He takes a spin and tumbles all the way down. He's climbed back up to P7 as we're seeing obviously Davi on those hard tyres now. They're going to begin to come into play here. The strategies are beginning to form. They're beginning to formulate. They're beginning to work well with each other, as Gabriel now close enough to go for the move. Neither is Victor, but Victor getting closer to the back of Alexis Kovra for that final podium position, in the same way that Gabriel is just holding on to the back of Monza for the race lead battle. And then of course we got this battle for the final podium position, as we got Davi on those hard tyres really starting to make them work now. Look at that, down the inside he'll go, finds a way, does the Brazilian of Davi, and Kendon Lutt is going to try and fight it. Is he going to be able to pull it off? Kendon Lutt on the inside line, and he will just about hold on to P7 here, but Davi's hard tyres now coming into play. And look at Cloud sending one all the way around the outside, but it's not going to work, and that is Cloud holding position in P9. Lap 8 of 28, Monza. The Dutch driver still leads the way ahead of Gabriel, the Brazilian, in second place. We have Alexis Kovra, the Finnish driver, currently in P3, but will he be there by the time we get into turn 14? Because here comes the Spanish. Here comes Victor Garcia, and of course Ivan Santamaria in behind, but here comes Victor with DRS, with ERS. Job done for the Spaniard, up into that final podium position he'll go now. And if Ivan gets through as well, we could see the Spanish working together, DRS towing each other up to the top two. So let's not rule the rest of the field out of catching back up to the top two, because it can still happen, especially if the Spanish outfit are leading the way, because they will work together to climb themselves up the order, that is for sure. Davi again on those hard tyres. You can see he's just got more grip than the mediums ahead of him, and these hard tyres are starting to come into their own now. He's got the grip advantage. He just needs the launch out of these corners to go for the overtake to get his way up through the field. And of course he's on the alternative strategy as, oh, is that Marcel Biega? Marcel Biega around and in the wall. Is that front wing damage for the Polish driver? Yes, it is. It looks like he's missing his entire front left end plate. His front left wing actually is completely gone, and it's been a horrible time for the Polish driver. He was doing so well at the start of the race, and he was P3 momentarily. He had a big moment as Ivan Santamaria drops down several positions. I'm not sure what happened there with the Spaniard, but the Spaniard has dropped down from P5 down to P7. Heartbreak for Ivan Santamaria and for the Spanish outfit. But what I was going to say, Marcel Biega was having such a good race early on, and then he had that mistake coming through the middle sector, and a heartbreak befell him as Ivan, a big little tap there from Davi and Ivan, the Spanish and the Brazilians. Of course, The Brazilians and the Spanish all have a very long history with each other. Of course, if you know your history, you know your history, you know. I think they will be looking at each other as main rivals, that is for sure, the Brazilian and the Spanish. We will see who will come out on top there. As Victor's around. Victor Garcia is around. It's gone from bad to worse for Team Spain. First, Ivan Santamaria drops down the order. Now Victor Garcia drops down the order. What is going on here? Lap 10 of 28. The mistakes are creeping in. The tyres are falling away from absolutely everyone. And all of a sudden now, Kendon Lutt is back up into P5 after his issues early on. Cloud getting past Ivan Santamaria, as we should be seeing the first round of pit stops begin to happen in the next lap or two. And there we go. We got our first runners into the pit, and it is the American of Vuk Garcia. The American driver is going to be the first one to bail out of this train, and it will be a set of hard compound tyres surely, as Victor Garcia also follows in as well. Yes, the hard compounds go on to the Americans, the American outfit there, as he is going to rejoin in 9th place. But with fresh tyres and the mistakes we've been seeing on these worn tyres from these guys up ahead, very, very intrigued to see what kind of undercut that Vuk is going to be able to get. Victor Garcia also going to be coming out of the pit lane as well. He's going to be well behind Vuk Garcia there in 10th place. I believe he might have had a front wing change as well, the Spaniard, which is unfortunate for him. But it is the case when it comes to this circuit, where of course you can definitely lose the back end very easy. You can get onto the curbs, it's just not the best place to be on the curves once the tyres begin to fall away, that is for sure. Meanwhile, at the front, Monza still ahead of Gabriel, and Gabriel is just going to sit in behind. Maybe he'll dive into the pit lane now, and yes, he's going to follow in the race leader. Monza and Gabriel into the pit lane. They will go, and who will get the better pit stop phase now? Kendon Lutt will take the race lead. Let's go on board with Monza and Gabriel, as Gabriel is already released out of the pit box. As Monza just snuck out ahead. Monza has just about got ahead of Gabriel, and that is big for him as he maintains the net race lead. Let's have a look to see what Vuk can do here. As Vuk, with that undercut, he's brought himself well over a second closer, maybe even 2 seconds closer to the top two. On that 1 lap undercut. Remember, his tyres are already a lap warmer, so he can maybe close in a little bit more, but it's going to be difficult to really get onto the pace of these two. They've been absolutely fantastic all race long, as Monza and Gabriel, the top two net race leader, net second place right now, as it looks like Vuk Garcia potentially is in a net P3 with Cloud in P4, Davi on the back of Alexis Kovra. The two Finnish drivers have decided to go longer. Is it going to pay off for them? We've seen how big the undercut is. Personally, it's Alexis Kovra goes deep into turn 14, and that's really compromised him now as he dives into the pits. Kendon Lutt continues on. Davi is also going to continue on as he is on the hard compound tyres. He's going to be going on a set of mediums towards the end of the race. But now we're going to see just what is going to happen with Alexis Kovra here, because staying out, the overcut here, I just don't think it's going to work out for him. Yes, he'll have the fresher tyres coming the end of the race, but he's given up an awful lot of track position, and he's going to come out behind Philippe Fragzak here in P8. That is a huge amount of time and ground to give up, as now after the pit stop phases the gaps have formed here in China, and because the gaps have formed, it's going to make things very, very difficult for all these guys. And we're going to see if there's going to be any potential teamwork going on between rival teams here, because I feel like if Kendon Lutt pits and comes out, obviously he's going to come out around where his teammate is, Alexis Kovra. Those two can work together to climb themselves up the order. Of course they can. Both being the finished drivers, they can work together. But there's possibility that he might come up closer to Ivan Santa Maria. And this is where they have to really work together here if they want to get themselves back into this race. As here goes Gabriel around the outside, the Brazilian versus the Dutch driver. And the Dutch driver is going to try and hold the inside line for the final corner. As he does hold the inside line. He does hold the inside line, as Monza is going to hold on to net P1 right now, as here comes Gabriel. As Monza there goes off track. I'm not sure what happened with Monza there. That was just pure understeer coming through turns 1 and 2. Or was it a little bit of contact there? It looks like Gabriel might actually be willing to let Monza back through. Maybe there was a little bit of contact and Monza just got dragged out wide. Potentially, I mean, I'm not sure. There's the switch. There's the switch. As Monza is lapped back through by Gabriel. As I think there definitely was a bit of contact. Maybe Monza was just getting dragged left, as both of them were turning right around the right-hander. As we got support in for Ivan, Dale Ivan, in the chat, as Ivan all the way down in P9 right now. It's not been a great race for Ivan, but of course if you are Davi, in the race league right now, it's been a fantastic race. But of course we are still awaiting a pit stop for these guys, as Gabriel up into the net race lead ahead of Monza now, as the DRS games will begin between these two, as we are lap 15 out of 28 now. We're in the second half of the race. It's looking like it's going to be a battle between the Netherlands and Brazil for the race win. The Americans of Luke Garcia and of course Cloud in 4th and 5th. They're in the net P3 and 4, and of course for them in terms of the standings, huge. Of course they came into the night in 2nd place in the nation's standings, and they are definitely going to be exceeding the gap to the rest of the field. Of course, no Czech drivers here tonight, no French drivers here tonight, no Australian drivers here tonight, no German drivers either, as unfortunately the German drivers were unable to join the lobby. I'm not sure why. We were supposed to have both of the German drivers here tonight, but I believe there must have been connection issues of some sort, which wasn't able to allow them to join, or maybe very late dropouts from the German outfit. We will find out, and we'll let you know by next week, of course, as Monza leads the way from Gabriel in P3. Net P2 is of course Gabriel. Net P1 is Monza. Davi is of course out of sync with the rest of the field. As now we're seeing the Finnish drivers getting onto the back of Philippe Bragzak. Now this is where we're going to start to see some teamwork, I believe, begin to happen, as the top two, they trade positions once again, as it is now Gabriel up into net P1, Monza down to a net P2, but P2, P3 on track at the moment, as it looks like now we're going to start to see the finish drivers working together to get themselves up the order. Remember, Philip Fragzak with a 3-second time penalty. Moves to the inside. There's Kendon looks down the inside in towards turn number 6. Job done. Potentially there. And Kendon up into P7 and net P6 as the finish drivers are now going to begin their charge. Work together to try and close up to the likes of Cloud, who's in a net P4. And maybe they can get themselves up to look and try to take that final podium position. I think they're a bit too far back off of the likes of Gabriel and Monza. They're in the top 2 fighting for the net race lead and the race win. But you never know what can happen, as we have the 2 finish drivers chasing down what is the 2 American drivers. Lap 16 of 28. As there is Davi into the pits. The Brazilian bails out of those hard compound tyres onto a set of mediums now for sure. As here goes Monza through up into the race lead once again. Gabriel, no ERS to his name. Monza definitely the one that's doing better with his ERS management. Look and Cloud in P3 and P4 now, as we got Alexis Coverer and of course Kendon Lutt trying their best to close in on the 2 Americans up ahead. Davi, after making that pit stop, comes out in 9th place, but he could be under pressure from Victor Garcia, the Spaniard, coming out of the pit lane. And no, he's going to be able to hold on to P9 is Davi, and on those medium compound tyres he may have the grip and the pace to catch up to Ivan Santamaria there in P8, and if he's able to catch up to Ivan, maybe he can get himself within the 3-second window of Philippe Fragzak's 3-second time penalty before the end of this race. Lap 17 of 28. Monza, the Dutch driver, leads away ahead of Gabriel, the Brazilian, in 2nd place. Then we have the American pairing of Vuk and Cloud in 3rd and 4th. Then we have the Dutch pairing of Alexis Kovra and Kendon Lutt in P5 and P6. Then of course we have the Polish driver of Filip Fragzak in P7 with Ivan Santamaria in P8 for the Spanish outfit. Davi for the Brazilians in P9 on fresh medium compound tyres, and you see the purple middle sector just showing the pace that he does have. There's the switch from the Finnish drivers as we're expecting these 2 to work together to close themselves up. Davi there in P9 for Brazil, Victor Garcia in P10 for the Spaniards, and then Marcel Biega in P11, the last driver on the grid. But the Polish driver is looking to still bring home some good points for the Polish outfit, and in a race like this where a lot of drivers are not here, big opportunity to bring home some good points, as every point will matter over the course of this season, and I can tell you that for sure. Gap between Cloud and Kendon Lutt has come down by a full second, but now we're seeing the Americans respond, as it looks like Garcia has maybe backed off a bit to give his teammate the tow. They're not going to care which one of those 2 finish on the podium positions, but they want to make sure they finish ahead of the Finnish pairing. They do not want to get picked off and lose more points. They want to maximise the best they can get here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, I want predictions in the chat right now. Can the Finnish outfit catch up to the Americans? Because both teams are now going to start working together. They're going to work with their teammates to close each other up. And will this actually help the Americans and Finnish drivers close up to the top 2? As there goes Cloud past Vuk. As Vuk now back down into P4. As it looks like Kendon Lutt has actually dropped his teammate, as Alexis Kovra does not have the pace to keep with Kendon here. Oh, this is heartbreaking for Alexis, as he's lost out to his teammate. His teammate has bolted away. His teammate has closed in massively on the Americans, and now Alexis Kovra is fighting to stay within DRS of his teammate. Kendon Lutt is absolutely flying right now, and Alexis Kovra cannot keep up with him. The gap 7.3 between Cloud and Gabriel. I don't see that gap closing down. I'm sorry. I think the battle for the race win is between these two. Absolutely. The Dutch driver Monza, the Brazilian of Gabriel up there. That's the fight for the race win. And then we've got this interesting team versus team battle for the final podium position. We have the American pairing of Cloud and Luck Garcia in 3rd and 4th. And then we got the Finnish pairing of Kendon Luck and Alexis Kovra closing in 5th and 6th. And we're going to get a 2v2 fight for the final podium position. And I'm all here for it, guys. I am here for it. Absolutely. Lap 19 about to begin lap 20 in just a moment's time, as Monza stays ahead of Gabriel Pinta, as this is going to be all about who has DRS at the right time for the race win. But when it comes to this battle for the final podium position, as Monza there losing out on the race lead to his teammate, this is going to be incredibly tight as we come through the final few laps. It looks like Kendon Lutt might actually be the quickest driver out of the 4 in terms of the raw pace. And if Kendon Lutt can get himself onto the back of the DRS train of Luck Garcia, he can save up the battery. And then he can absolutely go. Alexis Kovra just needs to stick onto the back of his teammate. That's all he needs to do. He knows his teammate has the pace to close up, as he has been doing. 1.2 now the gap between Kendon Lutt and Luck Garcia. And I believe that will come down to maybe 2.1 now as we come through turns 9 and 10, as we get a good launch out of... Oh, big moment there for Alexis Kovra as he gets onto the outside curve. Big snap at the rear for the Finnish driver, and he might have just snuck outside of DRS on his teammate, and that is not good if you are Alexis Kovra. And yes, no DRS for the Finnish driver, as that little snap has cost him massively here, as he's not going to have the DRS or the ERS to really close himself back up. He needs Kendon Lutt to maybe back off a little bit to allow him back around DRS range. Daffy is making moves on those medium tyres as he tries to get himself back up the order. Remember, he went hard at the start. He's out of sync with the rest of the field. He's on these medium compound tyres. He's now up into P8 and he's looking to charge after Philip Fragzak now in P7. But I believe that might be as high as he'll get here tonight. Lap 21 of 28. Gabriel up in the race lead, the Brazilian ahead of the Dutch driver Monza in 2nd place. Cloud, the American, in 3rd place with Luck, his teammate, his rear gunner, in behind. And now Kendon Lutt in DRS range of the American pairing. He's in 5th place, and his teammate Alexis Kovra doing everything he can to join this train. And if Alexis Kovra can get himself in this train, we are on for a very tasty end of this race, as the Finnish and the Americans do battle here in China. As I believe Alexis Kovra unfortunately not going to have DRS again. And I think that could be him over and done with. Here comes Monza though, going to sit in behind Gabriel for the race lead. But let's see what the Finnish driver is going to do with the American pairing in front, as the pressure begins to ramp up for Cloud and Garcia as the pole sitter. Kendon Lutt is absolutely putting the Americans under pressure. Remember the tyre advantage. Kendon Lutt pitted later than the Americans. He has 3 lap fresher hard compound tyres than Garcia. He has 2 lap fresher than Cloud. He'll have the grip advantage in the latter stages of this race, as his teammate is now in this train. Alexis Kovra is now in this train, and it looks like Luck, his job is to back these two up. But is that going to work? Because here comes Kendon Lutt as he's going to go all the way around the outside. coming through turn 7 in towards turn number 8 as they touch wheels there. Kendon Lutt has the inside for turn number 8. He'll turn to the outside for 9 as the American sends it on the inside. The finish and the American still side by side as they come through turn number 10. Now, if I'm Kendon Lutt, I'm actually going to probably back off and let have the DRS. But right there, what we saw was the order given. Vuk Garcia was given the order. Back up the finish. Back up Kendon Lutt and Alexis Kovra. And that was the order that was given to Vuk Garcia. And now the gap is 2 seconds between Kendon and Cloud as Vuk Garcia goes deep into the hairpin. That's allowing Alexis Kovra now to go around the outside in towards the final corner, and that is as smooth as you like from Alexis Kovra. What an overtake there from the finish driver. And now mission failed for Vuk Garcia. We'll get him next time, as now Kendon Lutt and Alexis Kovra, the finish pairing, have gotten through one American driver, and now the chase is on to catch up to Cloud and see if they can take the final podium position away from the American. Meanwhile, the top two of Gabriel and Monza, they're still in their own little race right now, and it's all going to be about DRS chicken for those two. But what can the finish driver of Kendon Lutt and Alexis Kovra do with that 2 second gap to Cloud up in P3? Is it going to come down? Is it going to gradually come down the same way that it did early on when Kendon Lutt was closing in on these guys? Remember, he does have the pace. He was the pole sitter, is Kendon Lutt. So we're going to see if he can really get himself in position. They also need to somehow drop Vic Garcia, as Davi there in 7th place is still closing in. I do think his tyres are going to fall away at the end of this race, so I don't think the Brazilian is going to catch up. But he is in 7th place right now, and he's doing a fantastic job. Is Davi out of sync with the rest of the field? Of course, starting on the set of the hard tyres, now on the set of the mediums, as there goes Ivan through on Philip Fragzak, there the Spanish driver up in the P8. And let's not forget that 3 second time penalty for Philip Fragzak. Obviously the gap now between himself and Victor in 10th place, that's only 3.3 seconds. So there's still opportunity there for the Spanish to get more points here, absolutely, here tonight. But let's see if that is going to come true by the end of this race, as it is Kendon Lutt trying his best to close in on Cloud. Cloud right now in P3, holding on as best as he can, as Kendon Lutt trying to use the pace that got him pole position earlier and tow his teammate along, as the gap is 2 seconds, 2.1, and Cloud is honestly putting everything he can into making sure that he gets the runs out of these corners that he needs to keep that gap as stable as this, because Vuk Garcia is now out of DRS range as he sneaks back in there momentarily. And if he falls out of DRS range, and he has, there we go, Vuk Garcia is out of DRS range, and that now allows not only Davi to close in on him, but it also allows the finish pairing to begin to work together without threat of Vuk Garcia in behind now. Oh, this is marinating lovely for the end of the race. Of course, Cloud on 12 lap old hard compound tyres. Kendon Lutt does have the tyre advantage. Gabriel on the back of Monza, lap 25 or 28. The race win is in the balance. The final podium position is still in the balance. Cloud, he has that 2.2 second lead right now, but is it going to be enough, as the finish drivers are now in a bit of clear air? They have some wiggle room. 2 seconds to gap back to Vuk Garcia in behind, and now the finish pairing can begin their teamwork and work themselves up to Cloud to take that final podium position away from the American. And guys, we saw how quick Kendon Lutt was able to get onto the back of the Americans early on. He was closing in like a man possessed earlier, even dropping his teammate out of DRS range from time to time. We know that Kendon Lutt is capable of bringing that gap down. But right now, it's all going to be about whether or not Cloud has the pace to hold on, and if Alexis Kovra can work with his teammate well enough to close up to the American in P3. Meanwhile, up ahead, Monza at one moment at 8/10 of a gap, 8/10 of a second gap on Gabriel in P2, and we are beginning to see the race win begin to really start to get a little bit spicy now, as Monza is trying to push away from the Brazilian. Cloud is under pressure now from Kendon. Look, Kendon has brought that gap down by 4/10 of a second, now 5/10 of a second, as we come through turn number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not over yet. It really is not. 1.5 the gap, 1.4 now, 1.6 as Cloud tries to get the best runs that he possibly can to keep the Finnish driver at bay. Now, if I'm Alexis Kovra, I'm telling my teammate, don't worry about towing me along, you go get that P3, go and charge. And I think that is going to be the order from the Finnish drivers right now, because I think Alexis Kovra, he's holding on to the back of Kendon Look, but I don't think he's got the pace to match Kendon Look. As we saw earlier, once Kendon gets into the rhythm, he is absolutely lethal in terms of the lap times he can actually hit. Meanwhile, we're seeing Luke Garcia fall further and further behind, but he is falling into the clutches of Davi, the MP7. Now this battle is also still going to heat on, as Gabriel back into the race lead ahead of Monza. Monza not going to look to send one back on the inside, but what we're going to see now is the games begin to play. And look at that, Kendon Look is almost within DRS range of Cloud already as we come through turn 14. What is Kendon Look doing in the snail corner? That is just so absolutely powerful. The Finnish driver really absolutely putting caution to the wind and closing up drastically there as Kendon Look closes in on Cloud. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. The battle for the race win is between Monza and Gabriel. The battle for the podium, I mean, it's getting tasty, guys. It's getting real tasty, because at this pace, Kendon Look is going to be within DRS on this lap. And then he'll have DRS for the final lap, and Alexis Kovra is still there with him. We could be seeing both Finnish drivers go for the move in turn 14 on the American driver. If Kendon Look gets within DRS range, and he is within DRS range, ladies and gentlemen, we have what should be a fantastic final lap of the race to contest here, as it looks like Gabriel tried his best to pull away from Monza, and he might have just done enough. Monza, little bit of a snap at the rear, coming through the snail corner, and that is heartbreak for him. Kendon Look outside the DRS range on Cloud, and that could have just decided the race victory right there. Monza, small mistake, and that's allowed Gabriel to get ahead and stay ahead on the penultimate lap. But now we come on to the final lap of the race, lap 28 of 28. The Brazilian Gabriel Pinta is leading the way. Monza in second place, Cloud in P3 with Kendon Look, the Pulsar in P4, Alexis Kovra in P5, and now Luke Garcia under pressure from Davi for P6, as the battles are now beginning to form on the final lap of the race. Let's go on board with the fight for what I think we have to stay on board with this one. We have to stay on board with Gabriel and Monza, the race lead. The battle for the race win is in the balance here, and then we'll have a look back at the battle for P3, as well as it looks like Cloud is going to hold on to P3 right there. Meanwhile, the battle for P6 as Davi closes in on Luke Garcia as well. Monza is out of the 1 second window, and that could be all she wrote for the Dutch driver, as it looks like Gabriel has absolutely pulled a late masterclass here, and now the battle is all about the battle for the final podium position here. Who is going to take the final podium position? Will it be Cloud? Will it be Kendon Lutt? Will it be Alexis Kovra? We don't know, as it looks like Gabriel has done enough to hold on to the race lead. Kendon Lutt, though, with DRS, with ERS, is closing in. Is he going to be close enough to go for the move? He's got to send it. He's not going to send it. He's going to think better of it. Look for the better exit, maybe, out of the final corner as we come now. One last corner, one last time. Final corner is going to be Cloud, who holds on to the final podium position ahead of Kendon Lutt. Alexis Kovra there in P5. Look, Garcia holds on to P6 ahead of Davi in 7th place. Ivan Santamaria gets through in P8, and his teammate Victor will jump ahead of Philip Flagzak there for P9. And then Marcel Biega, the Polish driver, who I believe has the fastest lap. He will pick up a point for Poland for the fastest lap. He's going to come through to take P11 in this race. But my, oh my, what a race that was. Absolute intrigue all the way to the checkered flag. We had Gabriel versus Monza for the entirety of that race. We had mistakes coming through from Kendon Lutt. We had a mistake coming through from Marcel Biega, and from both of the Spanish drivers as well, which dropped them all down the order at moments in this race. And it was definitely a race where, if you kept it on track and kept it going in the right way, you would be looking at a brilliant result. Kendon Lutt, he definitely had the pace to be up there on the podium, but that mistake early on, we're not sure what happened. Maybe there was an incident that happened, but he dropped down the order. He done well to get himself back within the podium conversation, but in the end, the American of Cloud holds on to P3. But that man right there, Gabriel, the Brazilian, takes victory in what was an absolute fantastic end to that race, where we saw Monza and Gabriel just completely dominate the field and hold on to the top two positions from start to finish. And then, as it came crunch time, Monza, his tyres started to slip away, the mistakes started to creep in, and then we saw Gabriel absolutely take full advantage of that. And I believe we are not going to be able to go for the standings because we unfortunately are stuck on the unfortunate screen of nothing. Do we get the standings? No, we do not. We do not get the race results, unfortunately. So we are going to go on to we are going to go through one more time of the standings here. Well, we're going to go through the race results, I should say, one last time, as it is, of course, going to be looking back on stream 2 seconds, guys, and we will go for the results one more time. Right, as we go through the results one more time, it is, of course, the Brazilian of Gabriel Pinto who takes victory ahead of Monza, the Dutch driver, in second place, with the American of Cloud completing the podium. Then we have the finish pairing of Kendon Lutt and Alexis Kovra in P4 and P5, a good result for the Finnish team. Then, of course, Luke Garcia for the Americans in P6, a good result for them also. And then, of course, we have Davi there for Brazil in P7. Good result for Brazil, with Gabriel picking up the win and Davi inside the top 10 as well. Then, of course, we have the Spanish pairing of Victor Garcia Ivan Santamaria in P8, and of course Victor Garcia in P9. So the P8 and P9, the Spanish pairing. P10 is Philip Fragzak as for the Polish team in P10, and then of course Marcel Biega completing the race in P11 with the fastest lap of the race. Of course, the pole sitter was Kendon Lutt, the Finnish driver. Big points haul for the Finns for the American and for the Brazilian outfits here tonight. And of course, looking at how that does affect the standings, I mean, there was no German outfit here tonight, there was no Czech outfit here tonight, or no French outfit here tonight, and no Australian outfit. And obviously, that's big for Finland. They came in tonight with no points, and they walk away with a good heap of points, jumped themselves up ahead of the likes of France and potentially, yeah, they jump ahead of France and Poland for sure. The USA and Brazil definitely big gainers here tonight, as I believe the USA would be leading the way with Brazil in second place. The Dutch team, I believe, would jump themselves up into P3 ahead of Germany. Don't quote me on that, but I believe P2 for Monza is enough to climb the Dutch team up the order. We will have to, stewards all pending and everything, but we will find out for sure. But of course, guys, round number 3 is of course going to be the Austrian Grand Prix, and that is scheduled to take place next week. Of course, we head to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in the Austrian hills, and we are going to see who's going to come out on top in round number 3 at Austria. Time will tell with what will happen in terms of the standings. I believe the Dutch will climb up to P3. I believe the USA do take a healthy, sizable lead now in the championship, with the Brazilians in second place. But we will see if there's any stewards reports that do come in. Of course, guys, I have been Michael Edwards, and I will catch you for the next stream here in the Nations E-League for CTC. Until then, guys, it is goodbye from me. Good night.